What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with Aor, part number 13 of season 3 this is now, of Aor Oceania. This is the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. Heading into this one, I think it's probably worth noting that I did like,
everyone ready?
I want to say
Okay, let's go.
5-6 hours worth of driving before getting into this. I was doing the 24-hour of Daytona, and I was driving all throughout the day, doing like double stints, single stints, and then I probably had like an hour's practice getting into this, but that's not an excuse. We're looking to have a good round here in Spa, but you know, it was a bit weird this one. I did SRL 2 days before this, and I don't know what it was, but the pace just wasn't there. I was just like unnaturally slow, and slower than what I should have been. I was slower than like the average, getting beaten by, you know, quite a few people that, you know, I wouldn't normally get beaten by, if that makes sense. So it was real puzzling, this one. I just don't know if the confidence was quite there at this circuit here in Spa. But I'm going to try and do the best job I can. This is a quick little qualifying comparison. Thought I'd include this because Greek Master is now uploading his race footage now. I think he's got an Elgato now, and yeah, so he sent me quite a bit of his footage, and now we can compare his lap and my lap side by side. It's worth noting that my lap was done a few minutes before the end of the session, so not when the track was completely ideal, but still, you can see that my my lines, just the amount of track that I use, is just not up to scratch with Greek Master, who seems to be fully dialed into this circuit. So it's really good to see where the comparisons lie between me and Greek. You can see slightly different choice of gears in some corners. Greek opting to rev the car out a little bit more, and that's something that I definitely need to learn a little bit more in terms of maximizing, especially like my one lap pace. You can see there I shifted up in 8th gear, whereas Greek left it in 7th. He was able to downshift and slow the car up faster because of that. Just small little things like that which make a small difference over the course of the lap. You can see he's going purple to the middle sector. It's actually very, very close between Ryan, Jared, and Greek in the qualifying times, and looks like Greek is probably going to improve by quite a long way here at the end of the session. I am getting a little bit of slipstream off of Master Berserk here, heading into the bus stop chicane. Probably could have gone in a little bit later there, but yeah, it's just all confidence related, I would say. Just needed more practice, more running, and I might have had a bit better pace. But you can see there Greek Master gets pole position, I believe, for this Belgian Grand Prix, and we go out again to try and set our final lap of the session, but I literally just missed out on setting another time by I missed out by like 2 or 3 seconds in terms of starting my final lap, so that definitely cost me, but otherwise the pace just wasn't there. I think P4 would have been the best we could have got there. There was no way I was going to do low 41s, I don't think. Just lacking in confidence, lacking in pace a little bit. In terms of one lap pace, in the race, it's actually a lot better. I just don't know what it is. I just couldn't extract the lap time in practice from what I was doing. But anyway, here we are for the race. The Belgian Grand Prix. We're starting from P6. We're going to be going from the supers to the softs. We had a failed lobby, and this is the one that you're seeing right now. We had to restart, so everyone got fresh tyres, but we're all starting on the same tyre that what we qualified on, and you'll see that restart in a minute. I was actually the cause of the restart, to be honest. I came to the grid here, and then nothing. My game didn't want to progress to the start of the race, so we had to do a quick restart. I'm still doing the exact same strategy as what I planned in the first attempt, going from the supers onto the softs. Everyone else, I believe, will be going onto the mediums, so there could be a bit of a strategy play at hand for us here in this Belgian Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and it's go time for this Belgian Grand Prix. On board with Jared, it looks like he's going to hold on to P3 as he heads into turn 1. Greek Master leading the way. New Zealand Ryan trying to maximize that exit off of turn 1. It's probably best not to be in the lead on this first lap here in Spa, because the slipstream effect that you get from the cars behind is pretty damn potent, and Greek is probably going to feel that as he loses the back end going up Radion. Jared has gone to the outside to try and overtake. There's contact between Greek and Jared, and now he takes the lead, but I think Jared has a legal overtake warning, so he's going to have to give those positions back. Meanwhile, Fens takes advantage. Ryan goes around the outside of Jared and almost Fens. It's a case of one step forward, one step back for Ryan. And we have a Williams 1-2 at the end of the first sector of this Belgian Grand Prix. Ryan going for a dive on Fens there, back up in a P2. So it's very, very feisty between all of these guys at the front here. Everyone's squabbling for track position quite hard. Meanwhile, I'm trying to navigate Neon Trudome. He's going very defensive into this middle sector of the lap, holding it around the outside. Lost quite a bit of time there behind Neon, but we now have track position and now we can get on with our race, hopefully. Next up is Jared. My goodness, that start was pretty intense, wasn't it? But anyway, we have a good start. We have our front wing intact, which is the main thing. Fens is on soft compound tyres. That's going to be very crucial for him. He's going to have fresher tyres at the back end of the race. He's not quite going to have the pace at this stage to run it with the super soft runners. So his goal will just be to stick it with these guys, stay in the slipstream, and stay close so that he can strike in the second half of this race. That was me losing the back end there going up Eau Rouge. Had to kind of take the corner cut warning to not spin the car or risk spinning the car. If I try to straighten up and keep it on circuit, I think spinning would have been a real possibility there, but we avoided that, and now we see Ryan taking P2 off of... no, it was Ryan taking the lead, sorry. I just got a bit confused there with all changing of camera angles. I did 5 different POVs for this race, by the way, so if this doesn't deserve a like, I don't know what does. Anyway, lap 4, you can see Greek Master coming back at Ryan. These guys are all slipstreaming each other quite effectively. They're doing it in a way that they're not really holding each other up too much, and you can see I don't have slipstream to anyone in front. That's a very lazy track extend. I really shouldn't have done that. So that's 2 warnings for me now, 1 more and they'll get a penalty, so I need to be a good boy for the rest of this race to avoid a penalty. But it's already pit stop time for the leaders. Ryan shadowing Greek Master, just covering him off in this race to make sure that he's close. So it's going to be a pit stop race here between the teams, and it looks like Williams does come out on top, pretty much as you were, to be honest. But that battle is yet to be concluded between those guys. Meanwhile, Jared out front, stretching out his super soft tyres. Fen's now phasing in quite well on his soft compound tyres. Those tyres are good for at least 10 or 11 laps, so he'll have much fresher mediums once he makes his pit stop. Meanwhile, for me, I'm stretching out my tyres till like lap 8, maybe lap 9, and we're going to put on the soft compound tyres and have the best pace out of anyone for the second half of this race. But the thing is I'll have a bit of tyre wear to deal with at the end of the race. But if I play my cards right, Fens is going to stay out an extra lap or 2. He's going to fall back towards me doing laps on his older tyres. So that might give me slipstream on Fens. I might be able to claw onto the back of him and then range up towards the leaders and overtake them and win in an ideal world. Let's see if that plays out though. But meanwhile, we've got Greek Master, who is the effective race leader. He's now catching traffic. Now, this is why I wanted to stay out just that little bit longer and just give myself fresher tyres and better tyres for the second half of the race, because I knew to some degree that these guys were going to encounter traffic and possibly battle a little bit, so this is where my strategy in the race comes into it a little bit. Meanwhile, Fens is making his pit stop, and it's going to be pretty close between him and Greek. Let's see if he gets the lead. This is how good Fens' strategy is, by the way. So he's come out in the lead with fresh mediums, and Greek Master's got the momentum here, but he might get Fens here up Eau Rouge. My goodness, that's pretty close. Fens on cold tyres, going side by side with his teammate just about. Now, Ryan and Jared are going to try and capitalise if they can. 3 wide just about between the 3 of them as they go down the Camel Straight, and I think Jared is going to get these guys. Fens has got cold tyres. There's not much he can do about this. So he just slots in behind. Good move from Fens. He needs to save some ERS, maybe a little bit of fuel, and then he can strike later once these guys' tyres go off. Meanwhile, for me, I'm a good 6 or 7 seconds back. So I lost a bit of time doing the extra laps on the supers, but now I'm going to be mega fast. I'm going to be faster than everyone else in this race for the rest of it, unless tyre wear comes into it. I really hope it doesn't, but we should be pretty gravy at this stage. Meanwhile, Ryan and Greek battling away here. Still slipstreaming, but it looks like they're starting to hold each other up a little bit more. They're getting a little bit more antsy with their positional changes. They're starting to fight it a little bit more, and that'll only get worse as this race goes on. They'll realize how much they need track position over each other to win the race. I'm not too sure what's going on in terms of penalties. I think Ryan and Jared have one. Greek Master is on 1 or 2 warnings at this stage, and I know for certain that Fens also has a penalty. Meanwhile, Slipstream on Prez BC didn't really hold us up at all. If anything, he really helped us in that phase of getting past him, so that was really nice. And now we're only 3 seconds behind the Fens, so we've halved the gap in only a few laps now. So at this point in the race, things are starting to look up for me. You can see Ryan and Greek are starting to battle a whole lot more. They're now starting to need to conserve fuel ever so slightly. Greek Master loses the back end out of the final corner. Jared gets P2 now, and now Fens is looking pretty racy at this point in the Grand Prix. Greek Master spins Jared ever so slightly, but he managed to recover, and that allows Ryan to get away with this race. He might be nearly a second away. He might be breaking DRS to these guys, and if so, that could be race winning for his sake. But here we go. Fens up the inside on the Camel Straight. He's now forcing the issue. Gets past his teammate, and now he's going to see if he can get past Jared as well up the inside into Lecom. It's almost a spin again for Jared, but he manages to hold on to P2. Meanwhile, you can see how close I am to the lead of the race. They're right there. I couldn't believe how much it was working out for me. I caught them so quickly in the first 10 laps of this stint, and now we've got 5 laps to go. This is the part where it's going to get a little bit tricky for me because my tyres are undoubtedly probably more worn than these guys now, and it's just a case of doing the best job I can to hold on. I still don't have a penalty. Meanwhile, Greek has just got his, so on the basis of penalties, everyone has one except for me. So I could potentially mug this race if I just stay in the slipstream, if I stay in the DRS of the cars ahead, and don't really get involved. It's funny how this works out. This was the case in Hungary in SRL. I let everyone squabble and battle and corner cut and take warnings and potentially damage off each other and take the life of the tyres out of each other. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting back with my less pace and reaping the rewards, it seems. Here goes Jared up the inside of Ryan. I think Ryan's struggling a little bit for pace at the back end of this one. He's starting to just struggle ever so slightly, but he might be saving fuel, I'm not too sure. Meanwhile, you can see I've actually lost DRS to Greek, so I was in the slipstream of Greek, but I've just lost it. So that's going to be crucial for our race to make sure that we can stay within 3 seconds of this leading pack, otherwise it's going to be GG. So hopefully these guys can battle just that little bit more, and we can phase back into the game here. Here comes Jared on Fens. He's using all of his battery. You can see he's got no battery left, but he expels all of it just to get the lead there. So a bit of gamesmanship now happening. Everyone's wanting to position themselves in the spot that they best feel comfortable to either defend or attack their position to get the race win. All these guys are level on penalties now, so for these guys it's just a case of whoever's got track position will win. Here goes Fens on the last lap of the Grand Prix, around the outside into Lecom. There's a bit of contact made. It's getting really, really squabbly between these guys. Ryan goes around the outside of Fens, can't quite make it stick. And these guys, yeah, you can see just how much it means to them trying to get one up on each other on this last lap of this Belgian Grand Prix. You can see a lot of them don't have any ERS left to use. We're all maximizing everything that we have left, and Ryan has got his second penalty, so that's going to take him out of contention for this one, unfortunately. But as he goes through Pouan, you can see he just loses the back end ever so slightly, and that's going to take away all the momentum versus the leaders. And now Greek Master is going to see if he can take advantage of this. Ryan losing the back end again on the curb, and Greek Master has rear-ended him into the gravel trap. I take advantage of that. That's P4 for me now. Greek Master has damage as well, so I think at least I'm going to get a podium in this race. I don't know about the race leaders and whether they have a second penalty or whether I'm within 3 seconds. It remains to be seen, but here goes Fens for a move on Jared. Right at the last second, he tries to go for a dive, but it looks like on track, DRC Jared is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. Greek Master home in P3. I'm going to get 4th on track, but do we get the win? No, we do not. It's only 3rd place, so I wasn't quite close enough in terms of penalties to snatch the win there. So it means Jared wins the race. And our two championship contenders are not even on the podium. So there we have it, guys. That has been the Belgian Grand Prix. A very, very intense race, right from start to finish. That first lap, you saw how much squabbling of position there was. Everyone was very aggressive to get track position from the outset, and that intensity was there the whole race. It was quite insane. For us, the pace just wasn't there. I feel like the strategy was good, to be honest, even though the tyres died off, and I gave it absolutely everything to stay as close as I could in those last 2 or 3 laps when the tyres were dead. I had no fuel, I was in the negative, still trying to make up as much time as I could, but I just fell short. 1.3 seconds, 1.8 seconds, sorry, from winning that Grand Prix from absolutely nowhere. It just wasn't to be. If I had more pace, just natural pace, probably could have won that. That would have been a definite possibility. But in terms of the championship, it's, well, after all that, it's only a 2-point swing for Greek Master. Tight margins, I tell you. Speaking of the championship, let's have a look at that right now. We've got New Zealand Ryan leading the way by 9 points on Greek Master with 7 races to go. We've got Jared 36 points behind, so he's closing in, believe it or not. He's continuing to get wins, while Greek and Ryan are getting tangled up with each other, and Jared is making the most of that, so he could buy his way into the championship if things progress as they are. Constructors wise, let's have a really quick look at that. I'm just on the AOR website, to be honest, just clicking on the thing, but you're going to see the graphic on screen, so it'll be nice and easy for you guys to follow. 365 points is the tally for Williams at the top of the championship. Ferrari, we're 40 odd points behind. We're doing well in terms of the constructors, but we need to close in by more. I've only got a few races left in AOR Oceania before I move to the UK. At this stage, I'd say the Russian Grand Prix will be my last race. So 3 races to go for me. I'm going to do what I can, see if I can win a race or 2. Well, even winning 1 race would be amazing. Let's see what happens. This story continues to another race. Let me know who you think is going to win, Ryan or Greek Master, or will Jared be the dark horse? Feel free to let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. Until the next video, I'll see you next time. Should I do that 24-hour race? Do you want to see that video? Let me know.